Okay, I got contacted on Facebook by a guy named Rodney. I'm not going to say his last name because it doesn't really matter. Anyway, he wanted to thank me for my YouTube channel, which I didn't know at the time. He just contacted me and asked me if I might have an interest in getting some jade from him as a gift, he wasn't trying to sell it to me. So he asked me, you know, what my main interest would be. Did I want to make beads? Did I want to cut calves? You know, what did I carving? Did I want to do carving with it? I gave him an idea of what I mostly would be interested in was larger beads. I sent him an image of a nephrite bead that's pretty interesting, which I'll put a picture of it on this video. I sent him a picture of a nephrite bead and gave him an idea of the size of that bead and the diameter and stuff, so he knew I'd need a relatively good sized piece of jade to make a bead that size out of. Anyway, when I opened it, I was floored with the jade he sent me, which I'm assuming is in this picture that Greg's shooting right now. The quality of some of the pieces is absolutely mind-boggling. I'll go ahead and show you some of the pieces that are in my opinion, the ones that I'm most excited about. Turn this light on. I'm going to move the ones that don't really penetrate that well. I'll get this set up back here and then I'll let you see. I don't know if that's going to show real good. I mean, this piece of jade is just outrageous. Beautiful color, super translucency. It's just absolutely amazing. So this one's future project. And now I'll go ahead and do that. This is called Esmeralda. All these are out of Guatemala. I should have clarified that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and light this again, then I'll just turn it towards you. That's not the best piece, so. But if you look at that green. I mean, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. He did recommend that I thin slice this to get that super green because it looks kind of black when there's a bubble on one of these. I think it's this one. It penetrates real deep. So what I'll end up doing on these is clean up that outer skin so I can get a better understanding of what's inside the rock. I think I'll shoot this intensity up because I can always add it. That's not the one with the killer. There we go. Okay, that gives you a better idea of how far down in that killer green goes. Okay, now let's see here. There we go. Anyway, I've got a bead, an ancient Chinese bead photograph that's been on my desktop of my computer for at least 10 years. When I first saw it, I fell in love with the design of it. It's an absolutely exquisite design. It's cut out of carnelian, and again, as I'm doing the editing, I'll put a picture of that bead. I've been wanting to do that bead for many years, and I never came across anything that I thought was suited for it. So when this jade came in, this piece was hanging off an edge somewhere because it was a solid piece, and I saw this piece off. It's not real big, as you can see in my fingers, but the rest of the filming of this, I will get this thing ready to make that design of that ancient Chinese bead if it's in here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on again. I don't know if it's going to work that well because of the overpowering. Hopefully we can get this where you can see this piece is muy bueno all the way down. Because I haven't really worked on it much yet, I can't give an answer yet whether I think it's, but look at this side. I mean, that is absolutely exquisite color. And even on the end here. Anyway, what I'm going to do in this video, in fact, I might break it up some so people don't get bored. What I'm going to do is get this thing prepped some. I need to clean these faces up so I have an understanding of what size of potential tube I can get out of this. And if in fact I can get the tube out of it, when I do this ancient Chinese design, it's going to make this bead be darker on the high points, and then I'm going to bring it down real close to the hole. So this bead should turn out outrageous if I know anything about lapidary. Time will tell. Okay, what I'm going to do, I don't know how much filming we'll do because it's going to take a little bit of time. You can see on this piece of stone, there's that's where it's fractured a little bit. And then we've got high and low spots here. This side's perfectly flat. This side's not perfectly flat. So I'm going to go over on my flat lap and start trying to square out where my tube is. That's part of knowing, I guess is a good way to put it. Having cut rock for the last 40 some years. It's going to be 2000, so over 40 years I've been cutting rock. I started out cutting rock. I had to learn how to metalsmith so I could sell my rock cuts. Anyway, I will go ahead and clean this up. You know, we'll have Greg do a short video of me working on the flat lap, but this is the hardest jade I personally have ever dealt with. So we'll go over there, I'll get set up and start cleaning it. I'll probably clean this side first, just down to where I can have a good idea of what's in there. So we'll move over to the flat lap. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fire up my flat lap. I'm just going to work on this side and have Greg, he'll video it a little bit. I'm only using a 260 grit diamond right now because I want to be able to see into this real good. I could go 60 grit or whatever, any grit size I want. I'm going to grind on this side to start out with and give you an idea of how hard this jade really is, and probably just, you know, cut because it's going to take me a while to get this thing cleaned up. I'll go ahead and fire up the flat lap. And I'm going to put some serious pressure on this thing. And now we'll see how much I got off of it. I guess it's coming back pretty quick. So I'll go ahead and hit it again. that's going to help me grab this spray bottle. That's going to help me be able to see the internals on this thing. Because I don't have to get this out of the way because it's going to be ground into a tube. You know, out here on the end, it doesn't really matter. I'll go ahead and study it a little bit. I don't really think I need to do a whole lot to that side, maybe a little bit. And then this side I can leave at an angle some. I'm just trying to get it where I can make sure when I drill this, the tube comes out to be that solid green, hopefully. You know, we'll see. Now I can go ahead and turn the flat lap off and look at this with a loop and stuff and see if I need to grind any more. That'll do her. Okay, now that I ground it down a little bit on that one side that was all pocky and stuff, it's even, you know, I'm getting more excited as I grind on this thing. You know, look at the end of it. You can tell that it looks like it's just going to be this luscious green tube. So now what I'll do is I'll study it a little bit with my loop and stuff and get it squared. Like I have to have it where I can have it perfectly straight up and down when I drill the holes, and then I get what I'm after. So that's what I'm going to do next, is start getting it ready to take over to the, I use a milling machine. Most people don't have a milling machine, but that's what I use. So I can get a perfect hole in this. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and play on the flat lap a little bit more, look at it with a loop, this, that, and the other. I just don't want there to be any flaws in it when I go for the tube. Okay, this is a vertical flat lap I made many years ago. There is a video on my YouTube channel called Homemade Flat Laps, so I explain this whole thing. This is just a guide. You know, I'll take whatever side I want everything to be square to, which will probably be this side right here, or maybe this side, maybe. It's kind of tough. Anyway, what I'm trying to do right now is get one of these edges where the top and the bottom are going to be perfectly square to it. So I'll go ahead and get this thing fired up. And this is a 260 wheel again. I'm just wanting to get to where, because you can see right now that's not square at all. It goes at an angle. This one goes at a drastic angle. So I need to decide what end I want to be the reference, the registering, and probably this. I'll use that face that I just ground for my registration, and then I have to have. So if I put that side down, I need to remember that I'm using this for my reference. I don't know if that's going to work because I can't just spin it around. Anyway, I'll get one side done. Get my spray bottle. I'm not going to put water on this. I'm just going to spray it randomly. So I'll go ahead and fire this up. Spray it with a little bit of water. Looks like it's already pretty done. that looks like I have squares and stuff, but that's pretty cleaned up. So rather than try to spin this around and get it the same, I can put that side down now. And if you look at that, it's pretty much straight up and down this side to the base. So then when I go to drill, I can, in my milling machine, I have a vise and I have these steel, like parallel bars they're called. I can set this down on a parallel bar now, tighten the vise chuck up, and the back has no choice but to be straight up and down. And as long as this side that I ground that to is on the parallel, that side and this side will be perfectly straight up and down, and then I can set up for my hole. Okay, I'm trying to get the largest tube, whatever diameter I can, out of this piece of jade. You know, it's such a luscious piece of jade, you want to get all you can out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do some measurements in inches, get myself an average up and down. Okay, down here it's 378 thousandths, and go on up it's got a 7 thousandths change top to bottom, which it's minimal. That's on, you know, halfway down, that's only 3.5 thousandths. So we're going to call halfway down for our center 380. So that'd be 190 for center this way. So put 0.19. And then the other way, I'm mostly concerned about down in here. Hopefully it's bigger than the 190 going down, which it is. It's quite a bit bigger. So knowing that, once I get this thing set up in the milling machine, I already know that the other way, in the skinniest part right here, it's still 450. So that would be 225. So when I get this start to set up, this is the edge I ground that's perfectly square to this edge and this edge. If I flip it over, set it in my milling machine, which I'll go ahead and video it when I get it set up, so I get as near dead center on this way as I can, that 190. And then I'll go ahead and move it into where I have leftovers on both sides. That'll do it. Okay, in the machinist world, this is called a parallel bar. You can buy sets of them and they vary in height. And the main reason I'm using this is when I lay this piece of jade on there, the way I have it ground, if I lay it on there and just let it stand on top of that, when I close the vise up, it locks that piece of stone in there parallel to the bottom. And when I tightened it up, it lifted a little bit. That's why it slides now. Anyway, let me tighten that up a little bit more, and then I think what I'll go ahead and do with this, because I'm so wanting to get the tube out of there, is I'm not going to show this. I showed it in another video. I'm going to put what's called a last word dial indicator here, make sure this side's pretty much straight up and down. And I already know this side's perfectly straight up and down, because this vise, that face of the vise is always perfectly straight up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and use the dial, or the dial indicator, but I'm not going to show that in this. It's in another video. Okay, I'm not filming a lot of this thing. We did a little bit when I set up to drill. I set it up to drill, worked on to get it as near center as possible. Looks like it came out pretty good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it on the fixture and start making a round tube. You know, you can see where it drops down a little bit right here, but more than likely that when the tube's made, that it's going to be the same distance away from the edge all the way around, and that will have disappeared. So I'm going to go ahead and start grinding on it. I don't think we're going to, you know, Greg might do a little bit of filming now and again, but it's going to take a while to make this thing into a tube. So here we go. Get some water going. Okay, I think that there should be plenty of lip flapping in YouTube videos, or people get bored real quick, and they get bored anyway. So, anyway, I now have this into pretty much a perfect tube, a long tube. I had to grind the ends off some because there was minor cracks on both ends, and I'm getting ready to put an arc on the end of this now. So I have a bead in mind, which I think I already told you will be at the beginning of the video so people see what I'm making. Anyway, so now I'm going to go ahead and make myself a real nice arc on both ends of this to make sure that where it finishes on the outer edge, there's a little tiny chip. It's not really a chip, it's a cleavage in the jade right there. And I need to make sure that that does not pop off. And so I'm going to go ahead and round the ends a little bit and then look at it real good again. And if that's going to pop off, I need to make the bead even a little bit shorter. So we'll see what shakes out.